even a guy, I talk about him all the time, Drake Maye. Give me Drake Maye and a
Oh,
piece.
we
You
got a
can
little
get a
love affair
piece.
here, Tyler. A little love
Drake,
affair here with Drake
Drake
Maye,
Maye,
huh?
first 2 games, 20-point games, back to back. You said it. CJ Stroud has one. So he's
Yeah.
already beaten CJ Stroud. And the nice thing about Drake Maye, too, like CJ Stroud, this team has no run game. They have no defense. So it's literally Drake Maye is going to sling the rock and just throw it down 20 with a bad defense. Hell yeah, sign me up for that. That's the kind of quarterback I want in fantasy.
It's like at the end, they're going to be down in most games. And, even last week, we didn't get to see his legs a whole lot, but like he runs the rock a lot too. And
Yeah,
I don't know. He's got the
give
big
me
arm.
that.
There's shit to be scared of with Drake Maye. It's
No,
like,
it's just total upside.
where do you got him at though? You're excited about him. Like, where
Hell
do you
yeah.
got him at?
This is like everything that you want a fantasy quarterback to be. You want him to be mobile. He's mobile enough. He's mobile. I would say he's like Josh Allen-esque mobile. That's what
Yes.
you want him to be. So he's mobile enough that he's able to be a threat in the red zone, especially once they get near the goal line. He can easily score. He's got a cannon, so he brings those big explosive plays that you want. And then he just has a bad defense. Like that's like a dream fantasy quarterback. That's literally if Josh Allen had the worst defense in the league and just slinging the rock. Now, obviously, he's not Josh Allen
Right.
yet. Maybe one day he could get there. I don't know. But right now, first 2 starts, 20-point games, back-to-back games. Like, we've talked about this. Patrick Mahomes won 20-point game in his last 15 starts. This isn't just like a tiny little 2-week sample size for Patrick Mahomes. That's a full season. That's a full season of stats now that we have to go off Patrick Mahomes. And I still think he's the best quarterback because you can't talk
So
bad
you're
about
telling me you'd
Patrick
rather have
Mahomes.
Drake Maye than Patrick Mahomes? That's what you're
Hell
telling me right
yeah.
now.
And I
That's
guarantee
wild.
there's people that will trade you for that, and you get pieces. You could get a
Yeah.
piece. That's the whole thing in fantasy football when it comes to this kind of stuff, is that you could trade these guys with their name value and get good pieces on top of that.
The one thing I'll say we haven't seen with Drake Maye is like the bat. But the thing is, these rookies have been pretty good. Like Jaden Daniels been pretty good.
I just think
Caleb
it's a
Williams
good
have been good as of late.
quarterback class.
It's been a great quarterback class, but we have seen like times where they look elite, and we've also seen times where like we're starting, they look like
But
rookies.
Drake Maye hasn't even, I would say he's not even been that good. Like, it's just, this is the problem too, is like, it's real life and fantasy. He doesn't need to be a good real life player. Anthony Richardson is dog shit. I mean, he's been dog shit in fantasy too. These guys don't need to be good in real life. They just need to be good at fantasy.
Like the thing is, he's been throwing like these touchdowns, like a JaMychal Hasty touchdown, and like I hear you, and but it also the opportunity will be there because they're going to be down, and he's going to.
Well,
get a lot
and the
of
last thing I'll
time
say
shit,
is,
but
last thing I'll say is that I really do think that touchdowns are a skill for quarterbacks, because we see it all the time where there's been quarterbacks, but they just don't throw touchdowns, and we're always like, if they can. It's a skill. Like it takes a lot to throw red zone touchdowns in the NFL because it's tight windows. The defenses are so good. I just think it's a skill. When you have a guy who's actually able to throw touchdowns, that's just a massive skill that a lot of quarterbacks honestly don't possess. So if he's able to do that, I just think that's a massive, just so much value. And like we already said, just the rushing upside on top of that. It's just,
I hear you.
it's
I
nice.
hear you on this Drake Maye affair, bro. Hey, one of
It's
my
QB1.
guys. QB1 my ass. QB1 my all these.
Hey, what if I'll say this?
Starting to see it. Commodity
Real quick, though.
I got Cedric Tillman. That's my guy.
Oh, Cedric Tillman. That's not bad. He's
That's
interesting.
my guy right there.
He's
I've been talking about him a little bit as like an underrated piece, and I think he's gonna have a lot of opportunity, especially if it's Jameis, not DTR, that does get the start. I can see.
What if they do start
Tillman
DTR?
Being like a wide
though?
receiver 3 rest of the way.
What if they do start DTR?
That would be a very Browns thing to do.
Well, I think it would be the smart thing to do.
Well, I think for fantasy, I would love it. I don't think it's gonna. I think Jameis is the better. If you're trying to win,
well,
games,
I'm saying for the Browns, it would make more sense to start DTR. That way, you get the first overall pick.
Well, yeah.
Like I think that would be the
quarterback.
The Browns thing to do would be to play Jameis, who I think gives you the better chance to win games, and you don't want to win.
Nah, I mean they're not going to win games regardless whether it's Jameis or it's DTR. It doesn't matter. But I think if you play DTR, you're kind of like saying this season doesn't matter. When the only thing I think they have to figure out is obviously they have to get another player. Like Deshaun is probably gonna. They still will start Deshaun Watson next year. They will start Deshaun
They're
Watson
tied.
even off the Achilles. But you trade away Amari Cooper. You already said we're giving up on the offense, so you have to see what you have in Cedric Tillman. You got to see what you have in Jerry Jeudy. Otherwise, you're probably taking
And they drafted
Jamari Travis Hunter.
Or whatever his name is, the wide
Travis
receiver.
Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Hey.
Yeah. They're looking at Travis Hunter.
One last thing I want to say real quick about Drake Maye. So 2 20-point games. What if he finished the season from the time he started to the end of the season in point per game basis as a top 12 wide receiver or quarterback? Where would you draft him next year? I think he'd be a great. I think he'll be a great value
with him. I would draft him. I still would probably take him like that 7 to 10 range.
And I think that's where he'll go. And he'll probably. I already see it in my head.
No, he'll go lower than that.
He'll be a fantastic value, and I can already see it. It's like Jaden Daniels. We were on Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
It was easy to see the massive upside that he possesses, and I think as long as Drake Maye continues to look good, like we can see it next year. Where, man, it's just and this is the year I've learned it. My God, I'm not drafting a quarterback and a tight end early again. A fucking mistake.
See, Tyler, you coming around to the show, bro. Come join the party,
and especially
man.
with Jaden Daniels, he was so easy to see. It was so easy, and you knew it. And I have a ton of them, and I still drafted a quarterback early, and I just was like, God, I'm not going to let somebody else get this guy. I got to take him. So next year, I just know. I know.
I've always talked about this strategy-wise. I've always talked about like waiting on quarterback and waiting on tight end, and I think there's been this misconception for whatever reason in the fantasy community that you have to have a pillar quarterback and take one early. The teams that have the quarterbacks that put up over 20 fantasy points, they end up winning the leagues, right? But the problem is everybody thinks you have to draft them. You just have to find them.
Find them, yeah.
Yes, and we're talking about, and it doesn't have to be the guys that were that all season long. It just needs to be at the fantasy playoffs. You have a guy that's capable of scoring 20 points. We're seeing that with Geno Smith. We're seeing that with Drake Maye. We're seeing that with Jaden Daniels. There's Baker Mayfield is that type. Like,
yeah.
You don't have to take a quarterback early unless you know you're getting like good value on them. There's don't need to reach on that. And in tight end, they're all the same. If it's the Travis Kelce effect for whatever reason for years has made us think we have to go get a tight end. Tight ends didn't used to go till like the 3rd round.
I think if the season continues like it is, my God, the tight ends are going to fall. There's no way they're going to go early again. There's no way. Like
we're talking like 5th, 6th round for the first quarterback tight end off the board next year.
Probably, and a lot of guys probably even later. I just don't think it's going to be. It's probably going to be Brock Bowers will be high up there, but outside of him, it'll be a lot of guys that will just.
If it ain't Bowers or Trey McBride, Kittle, those are going to be the top guys. Like, and we're seeing the teams that drafted tight ends early. Kyle Pitts, Kincaid, it just doesn't work out. Like, there's very few Travis Kelce's in the league.
Kelce's been awful this year. He's been so bad.
I'm at the pass effect. Like, we're getting a 1300-yard tight end. Like, we're not getting. There's no
we're not
tight end
in
the league right now that's probably going to even maybe barely clear 1,000 yards.
I don't even know if they're projected. I mean, it's got to be. I don't know. It's been awful to say the least. It's been so bad
in receiving yardage for tight ends.
At the tight end.
Yeah,
here, I'll look it up right now.
Yeah,
it's. I would say it's probably. I don't even know.
What, Brock
to be honest,
up there?
Brock is probably the one. If I had to take a guess, it'd probably be Brock. But Brock Bowers at 400. Oh my God, he's 100 yards over George Kittle. Wow. Yeah, he'll definitely be tight end 1 next year.
Wow.
He's at 400. He's already at 500, nearly 500 receiving yards. He'll crack.
And then he's got rid of Devontae Adams too.
Yeah, like he'll be tight end 1 next year. But yeah,
probably like a 3rd round, 4th round guy for him.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Outside of that,
about quarterback and tight end, it's weird because those, for whatever reason in our heads, it's like it's good to have an elite tight end. It's good to have like good quarterback play, but I think the quarterback specifically, like even in super flex leagues, for whatever reason, they tell you and the stats say to draft a quarterback early. I think it's more valuable to have those heavy position players, running back and wide receiver, because they're the receiver position especially. It's so hard to replicate elite receivers.
The receiver position is definitely, like, going back and looking at it, just loading up on, and this was kind of the thing that I've done for years now, past couple of years, just loading up on the receiver position early in the draft. It's just the smartest thing to do. You're going to have some of your duds, but you're just going to, especially in the 1st round, Like you look at those guys, the first round wide receivers this year. Yeah, CD Lamb, and I get that Tyreek, it hasn't been great, but it's not his fault. Like it's not like he's playing bad. It's just literally Tua. But then you get Jamar Chase, you get Jay Jettis, you get AJ Brown, you get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like these guys are just gonna finish as top 5 guys. So it's just
It's tried and true strategy, man. Over time you start. It's the thing is though, we get the new QBs, we get everybody we love. The players are like, "Ooh, I got to get these players." So it's tough sometimes to take the old faithfuls.
Absolutely.
All right, that does it for this episode. Me and Tyler will be back, obviously, a lot more throughout the week. We're going to try to get you guys a couple extra episodes in throughout this next month. And know this is a very tough time in fantasy. We got to stack up these wins, my man. Any parting thoughts?
No, just keep grinding. This one league, my favorite league, I'm about to be 2-5. It's my worst league so far this year. But
that's your money league?
What?
Is that your money league too?
Yeah, it's my money league. Tyreek's killed me. But I have a good team, so you just got to keep grinding. Yeah, things will change.
I ain't doing too bad, Tyler. I got a lot of 3-3 teams that are either 4-3 or 3-4. I got to fight. My money league team is gonna be 6-1. I got one of those 1-point wins when Najee got in the end zone. Not my boy Najee. He got in the end zone, took me to that lead, baby. So, all right, we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.